All rise. Circuit Court now in session. I'll call the Sharon Circuit Judge presiding. Please be seated.
Good afternoon. The case that's set for hearing today is George versus Wilson. As counsel for the petitioner and the city council is here, and Mr. Sullivan is here.
They're on the far right.
Do you want me to list all the people who live in the condominium who are going to view him?
When people usually say "we saw," that means that you were with the person when you observed the event. In other words, we saw, so you were with somebody and together we saw the event. When you saw these cars coming and going and him there, who was with you?
I have
My question is who was with you?
I have a 3-year-old
Mr.
Chihuahua.
Sullivan, she's answering the question.
And
What?
I have a 3-year-old Chihuahua, and she watches out the window and she lets me know when people are coming and going. So we saw that.
So for the record here, when we're talking about we're talking about we and a Chihuahua.
Right.
Okay. Now, and so would I be correct in saying that you're hostile to him?
He's not one of my favorite people.
My question is, are you hostile to him?
Not necessarily.
You don't like him?
I'm civil.
You're civil with him?
Yes.
You ever go out with him?
No.
Ever have a drink with him?
No.
Since September 1st, how often have you seen Mr. Wilson at that residence?
Immaterial and irrelevant, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Maybe 3-4 times.
Have you, of those times, have you noticed him sleeping or being at the residence overnight?
No.
Have,
Some young kid has been staying there a few times. I don't know if his son or what.
And so we certainly have a right, I believe, to, I mean, it doesn't make sense that you could allow in one document and the other that is the official record that you couldn't talk about.
I kept saying I'm trying to get somebody to offer him sometime during these proceedings all the minutes, but nobody seems to want to do that. So it's your case, and we'll proceed however, and I'll make my decision based on whatever's presented. Proceed with the question. I'll hear the objection.
Well, we want to put on, Judge, we were given these
Sir,
documents.
ask the question. I'll hear
I
any
wanted to ask
objection.
you, have you ever seen these documents? You have a chance to review that? That's the existing ordinance.
Are you asking me to review
Yeah,
section
have you reviewed?
2.01? Is that what you're
Yes.
asking me to do?
Does that ordinance say anything at all that the qualifications for the elector has to be immediately prior to the qualifying date?
I think it does.
Read the part that says immediately before.
It doesn't say immediately before.
Okay, thank you.
You want me to read it?
No, it doesn't say, I asked you, does it say that on there?
It says as of.
As of, but it doesn't say immediately before. Miss, how many people come into you and look at ordinances and complain about them if they're not the person running for office?
We have a lot of people come in and look at
Have you ever
different
had anybody
ordinances.
come into your office and complain about any of the election rules or any of the residency requirements at any time prior to this?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. Well, when Mr. Wilson raised this issue, you yourself had to feel it had some significant value or you wouldn't have written that memo. You just don't write memos for the hell of it, do you?
No, sir.
Okay, so you felt it had some significance, did you not?
I felt if it wasn't clear that it needed to be made clear.
And when you wrote that memo to Mr. Petunak that it wasn't clear, and you already had an earlier discussion about it, nothing was done by the city, the authorities, Mr. Petunak, or to bring this up before the city council to correct this potential problem. Is that true?
I did not receive any response from Mr. Vitunak.
So nothing was done to answer your memo. Isn't that true?
I didn't receive a response.
Were you surprised that you didn't receive a response to a serious issue that you had risen?
No.
Did you do anything with any follow-up memos?
No, sir.
So you just sent out a memo that you thought was important, didn't get any kind of answer, and didn't do anything else about it, and the people who got it didn't do anything else about it. That's the way the city operates? Is that true?
I did receive a response.
Nothing else.
Now, this house that you have over there on 36th Avenue is next door to Mr. Knight's house.
Yes, sir.
There are no clothes in the closet, correct?
That is not correct. There are clothes in the closet.
Oh, there are, okay. Now, there's a bar of soap in the bathroom, but no toothbrush, no toothpaste, and nothing else in the bathroom except the bar of soap, correct?
No, that is not correct.
No shower curtain.
There is a shower door.
The refrigerator is wide open and there's not a thing in it.
Today it's open.
And it was open yesterday and there wasn't a thing in it.
Well, I just cleaned it out. And I've had many people, we've had parties over there, we've fed people, we've had dinners, we've had barbecues. In fact, your witness told you that we were over there having a barbecue. So.
Yesterday and today, was your refrigerator door wide open and not a thing in it?
Yes, sir, I'm bombing the house. It's got bugs.
Were you a resident in the city of Vero Beach for more than one continuous year at some point for a year prior to the time that you qualified?
Yes, sir, I met the
Were
qualification.
you a resident of the city at the time that you qualified?
Yes, sir, I was.
Did you intend to live in the city at the time that you were qualified?
Yes, sir, still do.
In connection with that, obviously the question Mr. Bosell asked you, that somebody could be 90 years old and lived here sometime when he was 20 years old, and now he runs for office 70 years later, it seems absurd. And you said you could explain. Go ahead and explain.
It would seem so, but there is a very good explanation.
Go ahead.
First of all, number one, a residency requirement is a minimum requirement. I knew that this would be a political issue. Residency is not just a legal issue, it's a political issue. And I believe that voters are perfectly capable of making a decision between someone who has been outside of the city for 6 months or a year or a reasonable period of time. And in fact, I believe the voters did make that determination. They knew full well these issues were out there. They determined that they wanted to have people that can do change.
Okay, it's amazing. If I had told you this afternoon, 1:30, I was going to end at 5, I'm still end at 5, right? I know that everybody wants a decision right away. You've admitted some things in evidence. I'll have a written opinion to you by noon on Monday, and I'll fax it to council. You know, although I certainly am concerned as a voter and concerned about the voters, my decision is a decision based on the law and the facts of this case, not on whether the voters have elected someone and I shouldn't go behind them. If under the law the person wasn't qualified, then they're not qualified, and that's the end of our discussion here. Maybe there's going to be a discussion in a political arena, but hopefully this courthouse doesn't become a place where politics gets to make decisions on these sort of matters. So I'll have a written opinion for you. I'll get it to you by noon on Monday. Thank you very much.
All rise. Court's not recessed.